Listen to me. If you don't capture attention in the first 5 seconds, you don't get a second chance. Not in business, not in leadership, not in life. The world is loud, attention is currency, and professionals don't beg for it, they command it. Today I'm giving you the professional secrets that separate the ignored from the unforgettable. Listen closely, because this is where everything begins. Before credibility, before trust, before influence, there is urgency. The truth most people never accept is this: no one is waiting to hear you speak. No one is sitting around hoping you'll slowly warm up, ease into your message, or politely introduce yourself. The world moves fast. Attention is ruthless. If you don't immediately signal that what you're about to say matters right now, the audience is already gone, physically present maybe, but mentally checked out. Professionals understand this. They don't open with comfort, they open with consequence. They don't ask for permission to be heard, they make silence feel dangerous. From the very first sentence, the listener must feel, if I miss this, I lose something important. That's urgency. Not panic, not noise. Relevance sharpened to a blade. Urgency is not about speed, it's about stakes. People pay attention when something is on the line. Their time, their money, their future, their identity. Professionals frame their opening around what's at risk if the listener does nothing. They don't start with, let me tell you who I am. They start with, here's what will happen if you keep going the way you are. Because humans are wired to protect before they pursue. Loss hits harder than gain. When you open by exposing the cost of inaction, you bypass resistance and go straight to instinct. Suddenly, this isn't a video, it's a warning. It's a wake-up call. It's a moment that demands attention because it touches survival. Emotional, professional, or psychological. That's when the room leans in. That's when the scroll stops. Most people dilute their opening because they're afraid of being too direct. Professionals do the opposite. They are precise. They strip away anything that doesn't serve the first 10 seconds. No backstory, no context dumping, no easing people into comfort. Comfort is the enemy of attention. Urgency thrives on clarity. One sharp truth, one undeniable observation, one sentence that makes the listener think, that's exactly what I'm dealing with. When someone feels personally addressed, urgency becomes intimate. It's no longer general advice. It's a message aimed straight at them. And when people feel singled out in a crowd, they stay, they listen, they invest emotionally. Precision creates pressure, and pressure creates focus. Urgency also demands conviction. You can't fake it. The audience knows when someone is hedging, softening, or protecting themselves. Professionals speak like time is precious because they treat it that way. Their tone says, I don't have forever to explain this, and you don't have forever to ignore it. That energy is contagious. It pulls people out of distraction and into presence. Conviction doesn't mean yelling, it means certainty. It means your words land with weight because you believe every one of them. When urgency is paired with certainty, the audience feels safe paying attention. They sense leadership, they sense direction, they sense that staying with you is the smart move. Another secret professionals understand: urgency is emotional before it's logical. Logic explains, emotion compels, the opening must touch something human. Fear, frustration, ambition, regret, desire, not in a manipulative way but in a truthful way. People are tired of pretending everything is fine. When you acknowledge what they're actually feeling, burnout, doubt, pressure, impatience, you validate their reality. That validation creates urgency because it removes denial. Now the listener isn't escaping anymore. They're confronting something real. And once someone is emotionally present, logic can guide them. But emotion opens the door. Without it, the message never gets inside. Professionals also know that urgency isn't sustained by hype, it's sustained by momentum. The opening sentence creates the spark, but every sentence after must justify why the listener should keep going. Each idea builds on the last. Each thought feels necessary. There's a forward pull, a sense that something important is unfolding and you don't want to miss the next part. This is how urgency becomes trust. The audience realizes you're not wasting their time, you're respecting it. And when people feel respected, they give you more attention. That's the paradox. Urgency feels intense, but it's actually generous. It says, I value your time too much to be vague. Urgency is not about being dramatic. It's about being honest. Honest about the speed of change. Honest about the consequences of delay. Honest about how fast opportunities close and how quietly they disappear. Professionals don't sugarcoat reality. They sharpen it. They understand that clarity is kindness and that directness is respect. When you open with urgency, you're not pressuring the audience, you're empowering them. You're saying this moment matters, and so do you. That's why the best openings don't just grab attention, they create responsibility. Once someone realizes this matters now, they can't unsee it. And here's the final truth. Urgency is not a tactic, it's a mindset. It comes from knowing your message has value and believing the listener deserves to hear it before it's too late. When you carry that belief, your words naturally command attention. You don't chase interest, you generate it. You don't hope people stay, you give them a reason they can't ignore. That's the difference between amateurs and professionals. One waits to be noticed. The other understands that no is the only time that ever mattered. Because if your first words don't wake people up, nothing you say after will ever move them. Let me tell you something most people avoid because it makes them uncomfortable. People do not move because of possibility, they move because of pain. Promise sounds nice, but pain feels real. Pain is immediate, pain demands attention. When you open by talking about dreams, success, or potential without first acknowledging struggle, you sound distant, generic, and disconnected. Professionals never make that mistake. They go straight to the place people are trying to hide from. They speak the truth people feel but rarely say out loud. And the moment you do that, walls come down. Because finally someone understands what it actually feels like to be stuck, tired, overlooked, uncertain, or frustrated. Pain is the universal language. It doesn't care about age, status, income, or background. Everyone is carrying something heavy. Professionals don't tiptoe around that weight, they name it. They describe it so clearly that the listener thinks, how did you know that? That moment is power, not manipulation, power. Because trust is built fastest when someone articulates your inner experience better than you can yourself. When you speak to pain first, you earn the right to speak about solutions later. Skip the pain, and your promise sounds like noise. Address the pain, and your promise sounds like hope. Most people rush past pain because they're afraid of being negative. Professionals understand something deeper. Acknowledging pain isn't pessimism, it's honesty. There's nothing inspiring about pretending everything is fine when it's not. That disconnect is why audiences tune out. They don't need another highlight reel, they need truth. When you describe the frustration of working hard and still feeling behind, the exhaustion of giving everything and getting little recognition, the quiet fear of wasting potential, people feel seen. And when someone feels seen, they listen differently. Their guard drops, their attention sharpens. You're no longer talking at them, you're speaking with them. Pain-focused openings work because they align with how the human brain prioritizes information. The mind is constantly scanning for threats and problems. When you articulate a pain someone is already experiencing, you trigger relevance. The brain flags it as important. That's why professionals start there. They don't lead with credentials or achievements. They lead with understanding. They say, in effect, I know what this costs you. I know what it feels like when no one is watching. I know the frustration you don't post about. That level of specificity separates leaders from performers. Performers impress. Leaders connect. Here's the critical distinction. Professionals don't exaggerate pain. They're a leader. T. They don't dramatize. They clarify. They help people realize they're not weak for feeling the way they do. They're human. That validation alone can be transformational. Many people aren't stuck because they lack information. They're stuck because they think something is wrong with them. When you speak to pain with respect and accuracy, you remove shame from the equation. And once shame is gone, change becomes possible. People don't resist solutions, they resist feeling judged. Professionals remove judgment before offering direction. Only after pain is acknowledged does promise become meaningful. Promise without pain sounds like fantasy. Promise after pain sounds like relief. Professionals understand timing. They don't rush to inspire. They let the truth land first. They let the listener sit in recognition. Then and only then do they introduce the idea that something better is possible. Not as hype, not as a miracle, but as a path. And because the pain was real, the promise feels earned. It doesn't feel like marketing, it feels like guidance. That's when influence turns into impact. Speaking to pain also creates accountability. Once you name the struggle, you implicitly say, staying here has a cost. You force the listener to confront the reality of inaction, not aggressively, not judgmentally, but clearly. Professionals respect people enough to tell them the truth. They don't enable comfort, they challenge complacency. And challenge, when rooted in empathy, doesn't push people away, it pulls them forward. People don't want to be pitied, they want to be understood and then led. Pain-first communication does exactly that. There's another layer most people miss. When you speak to pain, you also reveal your authority. Authority isn't just expertise, it's awareness. Anyone can talk about success. Only someone who's been close to struggle can describe it accurately. When you articulate pain with nuance and depth, you demonstrate experience without ever saying, I've been there. The audience feels it. They sense credibility. They sense that your words are coming from lived truth, not theory. That kind of authority can't be faked, and it can't be ignored. Professionals also know that pain evolves. What hurt people 5 years ago isn't always what hurts them now. That's why relevance matters. You must speak to current pain, the pressure of constant comparison, the anxiety of rapid change, the fatigue of always needing to perform, the fear of falling behind in a world that never slows down. When you speak to modern pain, you sound current, you sound present, you sound necessary, and necessity is the highest form of influence. When you master speaking to pain before promise, your message stops feeling optional. It feels urgent, it feels personal, it feels like it was delivered at the exact moment it was needed. That's not coincidence, that's skill. Professionals don't hope their message lands, they design it to. They respect the emotional reality of their audience and meet them there first. Only then do they guide them forward. Because when you honor someone's pain, you earn their attention. And when you earn their attention, you earn the chance to change their life. Before a single word is processed, confidence has already spoken. Long before logic has a chance to evaluate your message, the audience has decided whether you are worth listening to. This is the uncomfortable truth most people ignore. Confidence is felt, not analyzed. It lives in tone, presence, posture, pace, and certainty. You can hear hesitation. You can sense doubt. And once it's felt, no amount of good information can recover the loss. Professionals understand that confidence isn't about arrogance or volume. It's about grounded certainty. it's the C. Calm assurance that says, I belong here, and what I'm saying matters. Insecurity reveals itself in subtle ways, over-explaining, rushing, apologizing, softening statements that should land firmly. Professionals do none of that. They speak with restraint. They allow words to breathe. They don't flood the room with information to prove value. They deliver exactly what's necessary and trust it to land. That restraint communicates self-belief. It tells the audience this speaker doesn't need validation to stand tall. And when someone appears comfortable in their authority, the audience relaxes into listening. Confidence creates safety. Safety creates attention. True confidence is rooted in clarity. When you know exactly what you're there to say and why it matters, your delivery becomes sharp and intentional. Professionals don't wander. They don't search for their point while speaking. They arrive with it. That decisiveness carries weight. People trust leaders who sound like they know where they're going. Uncertainty, even when unspoken, creates friction. The listener starts questioning instead of absorbing. Confidence removes that friction. It creates a smooth path for ideas to move from speaker to audience without resistance. Another secret professionals understand: confidence is not about perfection, it's about ownership. They don't pretend to have all the answers. They don't hide behind complexity. They own their perspective fully. That ownership is magnetic. It signals authenticity. People aren't drawn to flawless speakers. They're drawn to honest ones who stand firmly in what they believe. When you own your message, even imperfections become irrelevant. The audience isn't listening for polish. They're listening for truth delivered with conviction. Confidence also shows up in how boundaries are held. Professionals don't chase approval. They don't adjust their message mid-sentence to avoid discomfort. They trust the message enough to let it challenge people. That doesn't mean being aggressive or dismissive. It means being anchored. When you're anchored, you don't wobble at the first sign of resistance. You stay steady. And steadiness is powerful. It tells the audience this message can withstand scrutiny. That confidence invites respect, even from those who may not fully agree. Perhaps the most overlooked aspect of confidence is self-permission. Professionals don't wait to feel ready. They don't ask themselves if they're allowed to speak boldly. They give themselves permission to be heard. That internal decision changes everything. When you believe you have the right to take up space, your voice carries authority without effort. The audience feels that internal alignment. They sense that you're not borrowing confidence, you're standing in it. And that authenticity makes your words land deeper. Confidence, when genuine, becomes contagious. The audience starts to borrow your certainty. They begin to believe in the ideas you're presenting because you believe in them first. This is how leaders shift mindsets, not by force, not by persuasion, but by presence. Your belief becomes a bridge others are willing to walk across. That's influence at its highest level. Because when you trust your voice, others trust it too. And the moment that happens, your words stop being heard and start being followed. Most people don't realize this, but words have weight, and when you use too many of them, you make every single one lighter. Attention is not endless, it's fragile. It's earned moment by moment. Professionals understand this at a level that changes how they speak. They know that every word must earn its place because wasted words don't just waste time, they dilute authority. When someone speaks and keeps going without direction, the audience doesn't think this is thorough. They think this is unclear. Precision is power. And power is felt when every sentence feels intentional, deliberate, and necessary. Amateurs talk to fill silence. Professionals let silence expose weak thinking. That's why they choose words carefully. They don't rely on filler, repetition, or excess